YNW Melly is not liking the new prosecutor in his trial. As it was just announced today, the new lead prosecutor in YNW Melly's trial, Stephen Klinger, is a 39-year-old veteran in criminal law. As just with one day of being the new prosecutor, YNW Melly is now facing 7 new charges. With the 7 new charges being tampering with a witness in a capital felony, directing the activities of a criminal street team, 2 charges of solicitation to commit tampering, conspiracy to commit tampering, unlawful use of two-way communication devices, as well as a second unlawful use of a two-way communication device charge. To understand how serious this is, Bryson Paul would even mention that after the court hearing where YNW Melly was told these new charges, Bryson would state, YNW Melly does not crack a smile at the gallery as he is escorted back to jail, as all the way up to this point, he has smiled at his family, being his mother, at the end of every single court hearing, as even the judge is actually happy now with the new prosecutor, as with Christine Bradley being fired off of the case, it would be announced, breaking news, YNW Melly's prosecutor, Christine Bradley, has been removed from the YNW Melly Retrial, following an order granted and signed by Judge Murphy III, as further explained here.
I'm not a lawyer, but Bryson Boone Paul just tweeted that the prosecutor, Christine Bradley, has officially been removed from the YNW Melly case. That means she will not be the lead prosecutor for the retrial of YNW Melly. The news came from the Sun Sentinel, and it says that while Christine Bradley has been removed, the elected state attorney and 2 key deputies cannot be called to testify. Remember, Melly's attorneys were trying to get 7 of the state attorneys to testify, and this ruling is basically the judge saying no to at least one of those.
As Christine Bradley was terrible in the first trial, not really making it seem realistic enough that YNW Melly did this crime. However, it already seemed as if Christine knew that she was going to be getting fired off of this case regardless. As earlier this week, when she was caught committing crimes in Melly's trial, she didn't even show up to court the next day to face the judge face to face, which would go on and make him very angry.
Typically, what I do when I have a brain or some issue about it, the prosecutor who's involved in it tells me, she comes in here, she's got an obligation of candor to the court, and I ask her a question and she advises me as to what's going on and why there's a change, why something like that. But she's not here. This is her case. We spent 2-3 months trying the case originally. It came to a jury, but she's not here for this. I don't understand that.
As with Melly's new lead prosecutor, Stephen Klinger, being the real deal according to online lawyers, we would randomly see YNW Juvie's father share more evidence that Stephen could use. As Juvie's father would do in an interview with Law&Crime this week, sharing that this new case dismissal situation is heavily affecting him and his family.
All of this legal wrangling that's leading to a delay in the second trial, how are you?
I'm taking it one day at a time. You know, you got to go through this process once again. Gotta relive it once again.
As Juvie's father would then go on to share the last moment that he saw Christopher, aka YNW Juvie, as he was with YNW Melly at the time.
Last time I spoke to Chris was like 2 days before the incident. Him and Melly FaceTimed me, and that's the last time I saw him. Last time I spoke to him was like that same week, man. It just hurt me to see that the love that he had for Melly to do that to him. I see if it was one of his enemies or somebody, he did something wrong or something, but the way it happened, how it happened, who did it, it just heartbreaking on both sides.
Knowing that YNW Juvie was with YNW Melly, Juvie's father would state that exactly when he received the text message from law enforcement to come down to the police station as Juvie was involved in a drive-by, he immediately knew something was wrong and something was odd, as YNW Melly's mother would even text him something extremely weird and concerning.
He wasn't, He had switched vehicles. At least that's what they said in the first trial, that he had gotten into, it was suggested through a defense witness, the one and only defense witness, that he had gotten into that other vehicle. Yeah,
they was telling me that. I drove down there that morning to go identify Chris. I met Moretti down there that morning, other 26. And on the way down there, when I talked to Jamie, she told me the same thing. Like, don't talk to the media and tell them Melly wasn't there. Instantly, my antennas went up because I didn't understand. Like, I knew from that day, I knew something was up.
As with Juvie's father outlining some weird actions made by Jamie King, he would then also expose how YNW Melly and Bortlen were witness tampering and what code words they were using to make Melly's ex-girlfriend not testify against him in his original trial.
Both Melly, Jamel Demons, YNW Melly, and Cortland Henry, who is known as YNW Bortlen, are now charged with witness tampering. It sounds like the prosecutors are saying there was this kind of crazy way that Melly was communicating. He wasn't allowed to use the phone, but he was passing notes to people, and then this person's calling this person, and then that person.
Saying like to me, they going through extreme measures to try to cover up or convince people not to testify, like Mariah mom. They was using code words like Rihanna and A$AP Rocky's baby mom. And
as with YNW Melly and Bortlen already facing these new charges, Juvie's father has just provided law enforcement with even more evidence to back up these new charges. So to understand this further, we need to dive deeper into the reports of, along with capital charges, YNW Melly's witness tampering charges will be classified as a capital life case, which if convicted can result in a life imprisonment judgment and $15,000 in fines by Judge Duffy. Continuing, YNW Bortlen, Melly's co-defendant, awaits his trial on capital charges. However, his witness tampering charge that ended up revoking his house arrest bond will not be treated as a capital life, such as Melly's. Instead, it is a second-degree felony case. If convicted, Bortlen can receive up to the maximum sentence of 30 years in prison and $10,000 in fines by Judge Holden. As YNW Bortlen is getting even more of a reason now to snitch against YNW Melly. As Bortlen is facing these new charges, it all started when Bortlen was arrested for these witness tampering charges while he was outside doing some shopping.
Melly's co-defendant YNW Bortlen was booked into a Miami jail Monday night and is being held behind bars on an out-of-county warrant. We just confirmed the warrant is out of Broward County for witness tampering. The warrant obtained by Law&Crime Network states as follows. On or about April 10, 2023, continuing through and including July 22, 2023, Cortland Henry, aka Bortlen, along with others, did unlawfully and knowingly engage in misleading conduct toward another person with the intent to cause or induce them to withhold testimony. The warrant continues the alleged witness had been summoned by the legal process to the jury trial of Jamel Demons, aka YNW Melly. The dates in the warrant are important. Jury selection for Melly started in mid-April, and a judge declared a mistrial on July 22nd, the same day the warrant claims Bortlen allegedly tampered with the witness.
As this is where things turn extremely bad, as it would be announced by Bryson Paul, here are the images of alleged notes discovered during the home raid of YNW Bortlen's home last week, filed into the Broward clerks by the state. Alongside these photos of Bortlen drawing out and detailing where certain jurors were sitting in the YNW Melly trial, alongside a description of what they looked like. To understand how serious this is, here's Akademiks' reaction.
To keep it real, this is sloppy. Bortlen, how the f you gonna have the notebook of the jurors in your house? Like, god damn. Holy sh. You know what I mean? Like, brother, like, come the f on. It's like doing a and having the surveillance tape in your DVD player or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, come on, bro. Like they raid your crib and the surveillance footage of the is in your DVD player. They be like, oh, okay, thank you, brother. This can't be at your crib.
With Bortlen's name being ruined online for what he did to Melly and ruining his release chances, he would go on to speak from his jail cell, where he would share, and I quote, "I'm doing great. This feels good as long as God is great. My faith will never let me be discouraged because I have Jesus with me. Just ready to come home and for the world to see how corrupt the Broward County is. Next time I talk out there, won't be an ankle monitor on me. Be a free man." As with YNW Bortlen mentioning how corrupt Broward County is, what he is referring to is all of the crimes that the prosecutors and state attorneys committed in the YNW Melly trial, which would all be outlined by the judge here.
You indicated here that counsel for the defendant believes that there is probable cause that the witnesses under subpoena, the members of the state attorney's office and the elected state attorney to have committed obstruction of justice and attempted witness tampering and felony pursuant to FS 838.022 for misuse of public office due to their actions since October of 2020.
That's what it says, Your Honor.
That's right. Very serious allegation.
Very serious allegation. Very serious.
Now, with all of the new issues in the state attorney's office, Melly and Bortlen's new charges, and the new prosecutor, the judge now might see it easier to just have the two together in the upcoming retrial, which would be a terrible thing for YNW Melly.
Issue here, and you can try them together. It is to the benefit of the state to try them together. It just more efficient. You don't have to do things again and again. Do it all at once, and also you get a better chance of having them incriminate each other during the trial. It benefits the defense to sever it. That way they can point the finger at each other and get away with it. So this is what's going on. But I don't think it should be automatically severed because the state is seeking a penalty for Melly, because it's only the penalty phase of the trial that would be different, not the guilt phase. The guilt phase is the same. They're both capital crimes. You're seeking the penalty on one, not the other, but that goes into the second part of the trial, the penalty phase, only if Melly is found guilty.
As many believe that YNW Bortlen will eventually take a plea deal in this case, the evidence is pretty alarming to prove that YNW Melly did do this crime to Sack Chaser and Juvie. Many are aware that Bortlen is likely not going to want to sit in a prison cell for the rest of his life, which could be going on to result in him snitching. As you need to remember, during the original YNW Melly trial, Melly's lawyer David Howard put all of the evidence onto YNW Bortlen and practically snitched on him, as he would go on to say this about Bortlen on day one.
Demon's lies, those were his lies. Cortland Henry shows up at Memorial Hospital, Miramar. You don't see him sitting there, but where you will see him sitting is in the driver's seat of a car with two bodies, car riddled with bullets. And when he shows up with a change of clothing, change of shirt, powder residue on his hands, evidencing that he had discharged a firearm. And he lies. He lies about where the incident occurred. He lies about how it occurred. And he lies about not having a phone. I think it was Miss Bradley herself who said, everybody has a phone in his pocket, not Cortland Henry. There were 3 phones.
As that is Melly's own lawyer revealing that it was always Bortlen that was telling the lies to the feds, and that he was even the one with powder residue on his hands, as he would then bring up a forensic scientist that covered the passings to go into further detail about Bortlen having this powder residue on his hands.
So the right hand of Cortland Henry contained 0 particles characteristic of powder residue and 2 component particles, and the left hand contained 1 particle characteristic of powder residue and 1 2-component particle.
Okay. And can you explain to us what that means?
Basically, overall, there was powder residue present on the hands.
As then even a lawyer would mention that it is definitely not too late for Bortlen to plea, and in cases like this, someone will typically snitch or come forward.
Is it too late for Cortland to plea?
No, I don't think it's too late. It's never too late. I've had individuals been offered pleas but turned them down in the middle of trial. I've had people offered pleas before a verdict came back. So it just depends on the case, depends on the prosecutor, depends on the actual charges. So no, it's never too late for that. He could take a plea in the middle of his case. I don't think that would happen. If he was going to take a plea, if there was going to be a deal, it would be in the middle of Melly's case.